My name's Alison Buckley. I'm a speech and language therapist working for the Bird Charity. We're a charity that supports children with special educational needs in the North West. Over the last 10 years, we've operated an outreach project in Oldham. I'm really pleased that your setting is interested in gaining the communication friendly accreditation through LCLAM. Why is it worth gaining this accreditation? More than half of children starting nursery school in socially deprived areas of England have delayed language, even though their general cognitive abilities are in the average range for their age. Not enough children in Oldham are achieving their good level of development, which puts them at a disadvantage when they start their formal education in primary school. Vocabulary at 5 is a very strong predictor of reading comprehension, and also of qualifications achieved at school leaving age and beyond. Speech, language and communication need is by far the most commonly identified special educational need in primary schools in the UK. How can your setting gain communication friendly accreditation? There are 3 steps involved, and the process is very similar for early years settings and for primary schools. At step 1, primary schools need 4 members of staff trained on the core 5 to 11's LCLAM course, which is taught over a number of sessions which total 20 hours. They must successfully complete a level 3 portfolio. 2 of these staff members must be teachers, one of whom is the SENCO. The other teacher ideally needs to be a senior teacher with representation on the senior leadership team. These 2 teachers then become lead practitioners at step 2, where they will cascade training to the rest of the staff team. The other staff trained can be teaching assistants, higher level teaching assistants or teachers, and they provide advice and information for staff on how to support speech, language and communication skills across the school. If you're working in an early years setting and your setting has 10 or fewer members of staff, then one person must complete either the core 0 to 3's or 3 to 5's LCLAM course, which is also taught over 20 hours. If you have more than 10 staff in your setting, then an additional level 3 person per 10 staff will be needed. They must successfully complete a level 3 portfolio and be willing to become a lead practitioner for their setting and cascade training to their colleagues. The process for step 2 is very similar for early years and primary schools. There's just a difference in some of the topics covered, which I'll tell you about later. To complete step 2, the lead practitioners cascades the communication counts training to all staff in the setting, including administrative and midday staff. This takes place over 5 one-hour sessions which are spaced out over a 12-month period. The content of the training will be familiar to the lead practitioners, as it will have been covered in their core LCLAM training. Lead practitioners get a communication-friendly settings manual, teaching notes, handouts and DVD clips to help them deliver the training. This training builds the setting's capacity to help all children develop their speech, language and communication skills, but also to support most children identified as having speech, language and communication needs. Some children with more significant needs may also need support from their local speech and language therapy service and other local professionals in the area. Whilst the lead practitioners are cascading the training to their colleagues, they also need to complete a level 4 portfolio. This involves an analysis of how the training was received and embedded and evaluates the impact in the settings on staff and children. The level 4 portfolio is completed online. To help lead practitioners, the LCLAM tutor runs 4 seminars over 12 months. At each seminar, the tutor talks through the content of the sessions that need to be covered that term and discusses the level 4 portfolio requirements and the types of setting evidence that can be collected. Each seminar lasts for 2 to 3 hours depending on the number of settings working together. It's good to have 3 to 5 settings working in a group. The level 4 portfolio tasks need to be submitted before the 2nd, 3rd and 4th seminars to enable the LCLAM tutor to mark these before meeting with the lead practitioners. The date for the next seminar is set at the end of each meeting. An example of this is the adult-child interaction part of the training. Before training is delivered on the topic, each member of staff is asked to reflect on their adult-child interaction skills and complete a short questionnaire. This questionnaire is then repeated at least 6 weeks after the relevant training session. The lead practitioner would then summarise the impact of the training in their Level 4 portfolio and upload it as evidence. I found it works best if the seminars are attended by lead practitioners from neighbouring schools, so that they can share information about how the training went and what impact it's had on staff and children. This provides an opportunity to share good practice and new ideas. If you're planning to start the communication-friendly training early in the autumn term, I would suggest that the first seminar happens towards the end of the summer term, so that the lead practitioners know what training they will be cascading and to give them time to prepare. To support your lead practitioners further, they will need to be given approximately 20 hours each full term to fulfil their lead practitioner role. The topics covered in the Step 2 training are for primary schools. The first is what is communication and developing interaction skills. The second is asking effective questions, which involves knowledge of the blank verbal reasoning model. The third is how to extend vocabulary. The fourth is developing understanding and speak out strategies, such as letting others know whether or not the child has understood what to do, or needs to ask for a repetition or some clarification. The fifth is encouraging expressive language and narrative development. For early years settings, the training includes, in the first session, what's communication? In the second session, modifying the setting to make it more communication friendly, and adult-child interaction. The third session is the language journey. The fourth session is the word journey, so your FAB vocabulary planning comes in here. And the fifth session is working with families and linking it all together. So how can you support each other in the communication-friendly accreditation process? This is a big piece of work, and it will really help if you can do some of the following. Keep examples of visual strategies that you've used successfully, such as in the early years age groups, a first and next board, photo-visual timetables, and examples of FAB vocabulary plans, and how you've shared teaching of 5 new words a day with parents. Note down and let your lead practitioners know of new things your pupils have understood or said after you've used a strategy to support them. Include your admin staff, as they may have ideas, for example, on how to help make school letters easier to read for parents, and can help with completing information on the CFS e-tracker. Include examples of differentiated blank questions in your lesson plans. Some of the primary schools set up a wall of visual vocabulary strategy sheets so that staff could just take blank copies of what they need and then hand in examples of completed ones used in class. You might decide to dedicate a part of regular staff meetings to share successful strategies with each other. This will help your lead practitioners to complete an audit of setting evidence, which they will then upload to the Communication Friendly Settings e-tracker as part of Step 3. In a primary school, you may also wish to involve your parent governors and have communication as a regular agenda at meetings. Step 3 also involves the lead practitioners completing their Level 4 portfolios. All the information being completed on the CFS e-tracker, requesting a visit from a neighbouring CFS setting or an LCLAN tutor who becomes the auditor, and they then complete the audit visit checklist. 1 in 20 schools are spot checked by an LCLAN tutor to make sure everything's going well. When you satisfactorily completed the process, you will then be awarded communication friendly status and receive the CFS logo, certificates and plaque to display in your setting. This is valid for 3 years and can be renewed following another successful audit and evidence of continued training of staff.